English rocker William Broad, better known to the world as Billy Idol, was no less than the spiky-haired, bleached blonde, sneering face of the 80s. He had plenty of success, but eventually he just disappeared. Here's what he's been up to. It will likely come as a surprise to no one that at the height of his rocking and rolling, Idol never met a giant truckload of drugs he didn't immediately want to ingest.
I couldn't do it now. I couldn't do it now.
In his autobiography, Dancing with Myself, he characterized his 1990 motorcycle accident as the catalyst for his finally getting off opiates, saying, "I was in the hospital. I was probably on morphine for 2 weeks, but I was in the best place to get off it. I would be sweating all night long. It was a horrible experience coming off." He claims to have overdosed several times, but one incident notably occurred in the public eye. In 1993, not long after the death of River Phoenix in an extremely similar incident, Idol collapsed outside a nightclub due to an overdose of GHB. By this time, his son Willem was old enough to question what had happened, and that's what finally put the brakes on his drug use. Idol explained, "Eventually there was a bit of a wake-up call. I had young children, and eventually you think about, do they want a dad who's a bit messed up? And they don't want that." In 2000, guitarist Steve Stevens, who was more than a little surprised that his old friend was still alive, reunited with Idol to go on tour, and the pair returned to the public eye. Stevens told VH1 that during their time apart, when he would read or hear things about Idol, a lot of it sounded a little bit scary, to be honest. But during the 2000 tour, Stevens was shocked to discover that times had indeed changed. He explained, "His son came out on the road with us. We'd check into the hotel, and Billy would be asking for a rollout bed for Willem. I'd burst into laughter. How different this was." The pair made a well-received 2001 appearance on VH1's Storytellers series, in which Stevens and Idol, backed by Billy's current band, knocked out a killer semi-acoustic set full of hits, covers, and even a few Generation X tunes. The set was released as an album as well, and later that year, Idol's first greatest hits compilation hit record stores. Having waited 12 years between albums Cyberpunk and Devil's Playground, Idol decided it would be prudent to keep himself in the public eye with a quick follow-up to Playground. But being Billy Idol, he did this in a way that absolutely nobody could have predicted. Just over a year after his return to blazing, hip-grinding rock, he graced the music-buying public with Happy Holidays in 2006, which is exactly what it sounds like. The album delivered what it promised, just Billy Idol singing earnestly straightforward versions of a laundry list of holiday standards. This was, of course, greeted with widespread confusion, but more than one music critic declared it to be an absolute must-listen. Alongside a 3-star review, The Guardian said, "There is an undeniably surreal appeal to Idol's Silent Night and a sherry-sodden Auld Lang Syne." Idol and Stevens spent a number of years largely out of the public eye, but rather than playing hardcore shuffleboard in a retirement home, they were doing what they'd always done, writing songs. In December 2014, they dropped Kings and Queens of the Underground, Idol's 7th studio album, and critics were mostly kind. Rolling Stone spoke highly of standout track Can't Break Me Down, and Ultimate Classic Rock praised Idol for being, quote, "more interested in exploring new, more mature territory than in recapturing his Rebel Yell heyday." 2014 was also the year he released the autobiography Dancing with Myself, a New York Times bestseller which didn't skimp on the sordid details of Idol's hedonistic early years. In it, he wrote, "I am hopelessly divided between the dark and the good, the rebel and the saint, the sex maniac and the monk, the poet and the priest, the demagogue and the populist." Way back in the day, before the release of his first solo record, Idol had announced his arrival in New York with the release of a little-heard EP called Don't Stop, a title he has since seemed to adopt as his personal mandate. He's now over 60, but it doesn't appear he's going to stop rocking anytime soon. He's long since tamed his drug demons, saying on his website, "Now I live for going on stage. That's the biggest drug, the biggest high. I still have a couple of drinks, but I don't need to be up there drunk or f***ed up. I get high off the music, whether it's new music or old.
I want to be here enjoying today. I don't want to be brain dead."
In September 2018, he announced that Steve Stevens would join him in holding down a 10-day Las Vegas residency at Palms Casino Resort, the ultimate destination for a man who's been on the road to Sin City his entire life.